This was a great card, full of blemishes. You'll see eventually as we go down the ladder here. But let's start with the first fight of the night. It was actually one of the best fights of the night. We had Jalin Santos versus Diaz. It started off with some controversy, but first off, these guys were throwing. Maybe they don't got a lot of power, maybe they don't got a lot of pop. Maybe they're a little bit sloppy, but this was a good fight. Controversial decision, but I'm not mad at it. Diaz was landing the better shots against Santos. He just was. His jab was impeccable. That's all I could say. His jab was powerful. His jab seemed more powerful than Santos's, all his punches. But Jalin Santos, he is a dog. He doesn't give up on himself. He was on his last breath, still throwing. They were in the phone booth basically the whole fight. Especially that third round. But the main factor in this fight was Diaz with the jab. It was stinging Santos. The next fight, though, believe it or not, is the controversial fight. We had Magomed Santos. I chose Magomed Santos to win. But Marshall dropped Santos in round 1. And he was landing the harder shots throughout the fights, plus mixing up with the takedowns. Magomed Santos, yeah, he did better in round 3. He got better as the rounds went on, but I think it was a little too late. If you watch the fight, Francis Marshall landed the most devastating punches. And when Santos was landing, it wasn't affecting Marshall too much. He kind of just ate all those punches, no problem. But he was landing some power shots. Close fight, but they should have gave it to Francis Marshall. The crowd seen it too. Crowd wasn't having it. They gave it to Magomed Santos. Good for him. But you can't deny this call was more controversial than the first call right here. Diaz versus Santos. I have more of a problem with Francis Marshall versus Magomed Santos. Francis Marshall won that to me. But I did pick Santos to win. By the way, I got every single prediction right except my main event. I picked Pereira in the main event. But other than that, I fucking killed it. Here we go with the third fight. Carlos Leal versus Alex Morono. What can I say? Leal killed Morono. He put him up against the cage and started boxing his fucking head off. Morono somehow did not fall down. I don't know how. He was standing there eating punch after punch. Eating it for lunch, brunch. He had dinner. A late night snack. He wouldn't go down. He ate the fucking 10-piece combo with the side. Like the chin on this guy, Alex Morono. It's ridiculous. Too bad his fight IQ and his style just isn't threatening. I don't know what it is. But this was an easy pick for me. Carlos Leal, Alex Morono, great fight. I think it was only one round. That was one round of hell. Alex Morono, you tough son of a bitch. But Leal just outclassed you. What can I say? Great fight. Let me also say that this card had 2 fights cancel an hour before the pay-per-view. We lost the second fight of the night, Chris Couture's. Then we lost Curtis Blades. I don't know what happened to him. No one disclosed anything, but apparently they got sick right before the fight. So I was like wondering, why is this card going by so quick? That's why we lost 2 prelims. Anyway, we had Bruno Ferreira versus Armen Petrosyan. I picked Bruno Ferreira. I did great in my picks. I arguably could have got every fight right. But Ferreira didn't throw many punches. We'll get to that later. Bruno Ferreira kept taking down Petrosyan. They were landing good punches. I think a point got taken away in that fight due to a low blow. It is what it is. But Bruno Ferreira held his own on the feet. Did great. Took him down, tapped him out pretty easily. So since Curtis Blades pulled out, because he was sick, we had the featured prelim as Joshua Van versus Ray Tsuruya. Ray Tsuruya kept spamming takedowns as we all thought. But guess what? Joshua Van pulled through again. He is going to be someone you need to watch at flyweight. Keep your eye out for this guy at 125. He's getting better and better. Fun fact, this was the first fight in UFC where both fighters were born in the 2000s. Yeah, we're getting old in this bitch. So that was the featured prelim. Congrats to Joshua Van. I can't wait to see his next fight. All right, we had King Green versus Mauricio Ruffy. I couldn't pick Bobby Green in this fight, and I'm glad I did it. He was the highlight reel KO. He got flatlined with a spinning heel kick, 100 miles an hour. This Mauricio Ruffy guy, he's been watching Conor all week. Not even all week. He's been watching Conor his whole career. He really looked like a Brazilian Conor out there. The beard, the face, the tattoos, the style, hands low, spinning techniques, punches. I don't think anyone will ever replicate Conor because he had the charisma and the fighting style. But if you want to emulate his fighting style, have at it. I like it. If you could spinning heel kick people like that, I'm going to watch your fights. The fighting nerds strike again. What can I say? He had the performance of the night. Brutal KO. Bobby Green, I don't know what you do from here. But Mauricio Ruffy, he's the new generation. And we'll even talk about that more next fight. But let me just quickly say, the fight after this fight was the piss break fight. I called it. This was a piss break fight. You're not going to believe this fight. This was the controversy of the night. Not even controversy. The only controversy was, why the hell is this on my pay-per-view? $80 pay-per-view. What the hell are we doing? Do you know how many people from the Fight Night cards, from the Apex cards, that would love to be on this pay-per-view? That deserve to be on this pay-per-view? And you put Amanda Lemos versus Jasmine Lucindo? Oh, speaking of Jasmine Lucindo, when Jasmine Lucindo was walking out, Joe Rogan said, Joe Rogan called Jasmine Lucindo a young man as Lucindo was walking out. And he didn't take it back. Let it be known, he didn't take it back. He didn't pull his punches back. No one was finished. No one got tapped out. No one got knocked out. They were still fighting. And the crowd was booing so loud that they had to stop the fight. It was terrorizing the fans. Oh, Joe Rogan and John Anik said it best. John Anik said, I think the commission's seen enough. And he's damn right. I seen enough. Everyone at the bar seen enough. I mean, it took me like 10 minutes to even get to the urinal because everyone was taking a piss break during that fight. I've never seen a bathroom line so backed up. So, whoever put this fight on the pay-per-view, thank you, man. You clogged up the bathroom lines at the bars. Thanks a lot. All right, next fight. Speaking of the future at 155, the new generation coming at lightweight, we had Jalin Turner versus Ignacio Bahamondes. Fuck, I can never say his last name. But they were standing and banging right off the bat. A lot of people thought since they're so tall, they're going to have a feeling out process. They're going to have to gauge each other's range. They're not used to fighting someone as tall as the other guy. Wrong. From the jump, from the start, they were swinging and banging. I was here for it. If you picked over 1.5 rounds, I feel bad for you. I knew that Jalin Turner would lose. How did I know? Because his IQ isn't there, his jiu-jitsu isn't there. And if you survive that powerful punch or that powerful kick, you usually end up winning the fight. So, Ignacio starts swinging and trading with Jalin Turner. It's exciting. It gets to the ground and Jalin Turner ends up on top. Ignacio quickly wrapped up a triangle. Like, quickly. Jalin Turner does not have a threatening ground game. Very poor ground game. He was on top. First of all, when that triangle started getting locked up, he didn't even try to fight out of it. I don't know if he's not working on jiu-jitsu or what, but he didn't even sense a threat of a triangle. He didn't even know it was coming. I seen it a mile away. After that triangle got locked in, that was the end of it, really. And the worst part for Jalin Turner is, when was the last time you seen an MMA fighter win by triangle? So I don't know if Jalin Turner's not working jiu-jitsu defense or what. But Ignacio locked up a beautiful triangle. Good for him. I knew Jalin Turner would tap right away. Then, after the fight, Jalin Turner retired. He said he's going to retire. It looked like someone talked him out of it from his team. But he was telling someone that he's going to retire. I don't know if he's still sticking with that, but usually when you say the R word, usually it's time to retire. You know, Jalin Turner, you had some good fights. If you retire, that kind of sucks. But I get it, man. It's a new generation at lightweight. You got to be well-rounded. You got to know jiu-jitsu. Unless you're Justin Gaethje, I guess. Because he's still at the top. Let's go into the co-main event. My favorite fight of the night. I forgot to say. The whole night, the whole fight card, fans were complaining that they couldn't buy the pay-per-view. ESPN Plus wasn't working. They were like screaming on the comments on Facebook and Instagram, all under the UFC's post. They're saying ESPN won't even let me buy the pay-per-view. The UFC was throwing money out the window. That's not funny. ESPN, you need to get your shit together. It's bad enough you're charging $79.99 plus $5 a month for ESPN Plus, but your shit doesn't even work? Dana looked pissed. The fans were pissed. Dana and the UFC lost a lot of money, I'm guessing. People couldn't buy the damn pay-per-view. I'm glad I went to the bar. Weird card, right? 2 fights canceled off the bat. There's a piss break fight on the pay-per-view. Joe Rogan calls one of them a man. The fight gets stopped early because it's so boring. I think that's the first time in UFC history. While all this is going on, fans can't even buy the fucking pay-per-view. Oh my god. Anyway, let's just talk about my favorite fight of the night. I'm getting distracted here. Gaethje versus Fiziev. For the life of me, I don't know why everyone was picking Fiziev on short notice. I didn't say anything. I mean, I said who I'm picking. I made it clear I'm picking Justin Gaethje. But I couldn't believe everyone was picking Fiziev. I'm thinking, yeah, Fiziev's more technical. He's a great fighter. He's fast. He's in shape probably all the time. But his last win was in 2022 against Rafael dos Anjos, who's 40. Or 39 at the time, whatever he was. He was old, right? Fiziev's been out for a while, and it's on short notice. I'm like, why is everyone picking Fiziev? If your last fight was 3 years ago against Rafael dos Anjos, I'm sorry, I can't pick you. Especially against Justin Gaethje, someone who already beat you. Another thing about this fight, no one thought this. This fight was more exciting than the first fight. Everyone was for sure, they're like, no way it could be as good as the first fight. In my opinion, this was way better than the first fight. I'm not even too mad that Dan Hooker pulled out of the fight anymore. I was at first, but after seeing this fight, it turned out better than the first fight. Fiziev came at Gaethje like a bat out of hell, took him down. He started taking him down. Gaethje reversed it somehow. They scrambled, and Fiziev ended up on top. Gaethje was on his ribs. Fiziev had a mount. And he could have really done some stuff there, but Gaethje broke out. Fiziev's not a submission guy. Gaethje gets up. He's throwing punches off the break. Fiziev's landing nasty knees. They were in the clinch a lot. That's where Gaethje was getting hit with those knees. But when Gaethje broke free from the clinch, he would always throw a shot right at the break. So right when they push away from each other, he throws a shot. That was working, but Fiziev won round 1 for sure. Those knees were brutal. Long story short, Gaethje won the last 2 rounds. They should give him whatever fight he wants. I understand if he doesn't get the title fight, but he needs a top 5 fight. He is in the top 5. I wouldn't even mind him against Arman. Alright, here we are, the main event. The fight we've all been waiting for. Minus the piss break fight. This was the worst fight on the card. If you would have told me Alex Pereira versus Magomed Ankalaev would be the worst fight of the night, I would have bet you a ton of money. I didn't see this coming. I know Magomed is boring as hell, but I know Pereira's exciting as hell. The thing is, all Pereira threw was leg kicks, and he backed up the whole fight. I wasn't too shocked in round 1. Round 2, okay, Pereira's getting a feeling out process. He might want to damage his legs a little bit, flatten the tires. I don't blame him. He started off cautiously against Roundtree. So Pereira takes his time sometimes. Nothing wrong with that. But he usually gets in the groove. He usually finds that flow state by rounds 4 or 5. He found the flow state against Izzy in round 5. He found the flow state against Khalil Roundtree in round 4. That didn't happen this fight. He didn't pick it up. I don't know. He landed a nice jab in round 5. I literally can't recall another good punch. So as much as I want to fault Magomed Ankalaev, it's hard. I can't. We know he's boring. We already knew that. His job was to go out there, be boring, and win. Pereira's job was to put the boring person in his place. I don't know if it was the Drake concert. I don't know if it was being on the cover of UFC, of the video game. I don't know if it was taking pictures with Zuckerberg before the fight. Don't ever do that. Look what happened to Volk. Stay away from that guy. I don't know if it was being in Australia with Strickland not too long ago. Could have been those things. Or it could be Magomed is that hard to hit. He's got really good defense. He avoids a lot of power shots. I'm surprised Pereira stopped every takedown. Good for him. But that must have been the whole training camp. Just takedown defense? You got to work your offense. I don't know, man. This isn't boxing where the better defensive guy wins. The more offensive guy wins. I had the fight scored 3-2 for Magomed Ankalaev. I think he should have got the dub. He did. It sucks because no one cares about Magomed Ankalaev. Just being honest. Wow. Bitter ending to a sweet card. I just wish Pereira lost more on his shield, you know? I wish he went for it and took that risk. Because he just needed to land a couple of those bombs to rattle Magomed's chin. But either way, out of all my predictions, the only one I got wrong was Alex Pereira versus Magomed Ankalaev. And can you blame me? That fight could have went to anyone. If Pereira threw a few more punches, who knows? Who knows? I still stand with all my picks. I'm happy of my picks because Magomed didn't do shit even though he won. You know? I picked Gaethje. I picked Turner. I didn't predict the piss break fight. I picked Ruffy. I picked Joshua Van. I picked Bruno Ferreira. I picked Carlos Leal. I picked Santos even though I think Francis Marshall really won. And Santos versus Diaz, that was a sleeper. That was a good fight. Anyway, that's 313 for you. Let me know your thoughts down below. I'm out.